When did you realize you were just a pawn in someone else's life? When my older sister found out she couldn't have kids, it broke her. I remember sitting next to her on the bathroom floor, holding her while she cried after her second failed IVF round. Because not only was it $30,000 down the drain, but it was also taking a huge emotional toll on her. I wish I had known back then how much her grief would become my responsibility. Because just 2 weeks later, she asked me if I'd ever considered being a surrogate. When I didn't say yes immediately, her tone changed. But you're the healthiest womb in the family. I don't know, Vanessa. I need time to think. As soon as I interrupted, she went completely silent and drove home. Apparently, I need time to think. Translated to, I'm selfish and cruel. Because that evening, the family group chat exploded. My mom messaged me paragraphs about how I was breaking my sister's heart. Even my sister's husband messaged me saying, I hope you know you're deciding whether or not my child exists. It was guilt, pressure, psychological warfare disguised as concern. I was backed into a corner and told I was holding someone's future hostage. Suddenly, I found the idea more and more appealing. After all, it was only 9 months of discomfort, right? I told myself I'd be proud to give her the one thing she wanted most in the world. I told myself family comes first, so I became her surrogate. The injections were rough. I was bloated, nauseous, and tired all the time. But I smiled through it all. Not for me, but for my sister, because she was glowing, finally excited again. I was on my way to her house for the gender reveal party when suddenly, a truck was driving dangerously close to me on the highway. I kept my distance, but as we made eye contact, I noticed the beer bottles that littered his car floor, the faraway look in his eyes, and that's when I knew he was drunk, like really drunk. And as soon as the realization hit me, so did the truck. Before I knew it, red was leaking onto my seat and I dialed 911. I rushed to the hospital, but I already knew. My body felt empty. I could feel my heart already shattered and mourning what was lost. But I still remember the moment the doctor confirmed it, that there was no heartbeat. I'd lost the baby. I stared at the monitor for almost an hour, watching stillness where there had once been life. But above all, I blamed myself. My fingers trembled as I dialed my sister's number, but instead of comforting me, she screamed at the top of her lungs, "You unalived my baby! You psychotic beach! I should have picked someone else!" As she continued to scream, I was too stunned to reply. I'd just gone through a trauma, and all she could think about was herself. She didn't even ask how I was feeling. Not once. She stopped talking to me that day, blocked me on everything. And maybe if she stopped there, I wouldn't care. But no. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of texts from my mom and numbers I didn't have saved. They all said the same thing, just variations of them calling me a piece of poop or an attention-seeking W word. You see, she had told our entire family that I'd faked the miscarriage for attention, that I was never pregnant in the first place. She claimed I had mental health issues and made it all up to stay in the spotlight. I assumed that people would see through it, but they didn't. My uncle called to say, "You're an effing disgrace," before hanging up. One of my cousins, who I'd been close with since we were kids, messaged me to say, "You were born jealous. That's why no one trusts you." And even though they hurt a little, I honestly didn't care, because the pain of losing my literal baby was 1,000 times worse than anything some idiots wanted to say to me. In fact, it made what they were saying look like a walk in the park. But still, it somehow didn't end there. 3 days later, I got a call from HR at my job. Someone had reported me anonymously, saying I'd stolen fertility medication from a family member and forged medical documents to keep taking paid time off. I had to sit through a humiliating investigation. I handed over every document, every prescription, every message from my doctor to prove I wasn't some deranged liar. That was the moment I realized my sister wasn't just angry. She wanted to ruin me. But she forgot one thing. She left a trail. I had screenshots of our conversations, voice memos where she thanked me for carrying the baby, text messages confirming everything. So I compiled it all. I sent it to every family member who had doubted me. I laid it all out, calmly and methodically. I didn't add commentary. I didn't need to. The facts spoke for themselves. The next morning, I woke up to a knock on the door. It was some random man. He asked if I was ready for our date. I furrowed my brows and told him he had the wrong person. Throughout the day, this happened 2 more times, and then I finally figured it out. My sister had made a fake dating account for me, and in my bio was my address captioned with DTF whenever dust knock. I was seeing red. The rest of the full video is on my channel and linked below.